Peace and blessings. Welcome back to the channel once again, where we talk about all things health and healing from a holistic perspective. And today will be no different. Today we're going to talk about water because it's probably the most prevalent question that I get in the comments. And people are always asking, what kind of water should I be drinking? And I know why they're asking that, because when you go into the grocery store, there's like 50 different types of water and brands of water. And it's very difficult to choose from because all the marketing looks amazing. There's artesian water, there's purified water, ionized water, distilled water, volcanic water. I mean, the list goes on and on. And, today we have no idea which one is better or which one is the worst. Well, we're going to break that down a little bit today, and I'm going to let you know about a type of water you probably have never heard of. Also, I think what is really important as well is to understand the importance of water as a function in our body. And I love this saying that goes, as above, so below. As the macrocosm, below is the microcosm, which is the macrocosm being the earth, which is roughly 70% water. And then the microcosm being our body, which is 70% water. I don't think that's a mistake that those two match up with each other, because they say you are what you eat. So you become what you eat. So if you eat the earth, then you become the earth. We are made from the earth. Okay. And we learned also about water through a scientist named Dr. Emoto from Japan. And what he did was he conducted a lot of studies. And the studies that he did on water was essentially looking at the molecular structure of water when the environment around the water changed. So he changed the environment related to music around the water, words and thoughts around the water. He also changed things like looking at dirty rivers versus clean rivers. And what he was able to see was the molecular structure of a clean river versus the dirty river was very different. The clean river had a beautiful molecular structure. Okay, it looked like almost like a snowflake in terms of the molecular structure of it. Whereas when you looked at the very dirty water, like sewage water, the molecular structure looked all ugly. Okay, so that told us one of two things. Cleanliness actually has an impact on it as well. But also what it also learned from the experiments as well is this. Even when it were to take you speaking out words or writing words down and taking a label and placing it on the jar of the water, that had an impact on the water too. So if you wrote, let's say, ugly on one jar of water, and then you wrote, I love you, you're beautiful on another, it changed the molecular structure of the water. Okay, so now what I want you to think about is this. If that can happen to water, now imagine if you think those things about yourselves, or if you're in an environment where all of that negativity is coming on you, how is that impacting your water? So that's one thought I want to give you. The other thought I want to give you is think about where most of the water people consume comes from. It comes from the tap water. It comes from the city. Now, most of you have probably heard of the incident that occurred in Flint, Michigan, where they had lead in the water. But let me tell you this, that is not an isolated incident. Most cities have this issue, okay? Let me give you a few of the contaminants that you will quite often find in water today. And it doesn't matter what city you're in. In most American cities, you're gonna find fluoride in the water, which is a contaminant and a toxin, okay? That's for another video, okay? You're also gonna find traces of pharmaceutical drugs in there. They found traces of not only hallucinogenics, but also the antidepressants as well too, because people flush these things down the toilet, okay? They also find arsenic, lead, okay? They also find things like bacteriums and viruses as well too. So think about that. Is the water that we're drinking and bathing in is essentially a chemical soup, okay? When you drink and bathe in tap water, okay? So imagine what that does to your body, okay? That's the one important thing I want you to understand. And I want you to understand that from the perspective of this is why it's so important. A, you choose your water carefully when you're drinking it, okay? And then two, you get a filter at home for your water as well too, okay? Not just for the kitchen sink, but you literally, even if you're in an apartment, you can get a filter for the entire home, okay? So that's really, really important too. and you literally could change the water in your home. Okay, I don't recommend drinking tap water at all, but in certain cases where that is all you have, then you definitely want to have processes in place where you're able to cleanse the water. Okay, but again, we'll get into what is the absolute best water for you in a second. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is this. Most people, if I were to say, what is water? And I said H2O, most people will be familiar with that. And H2O is water, two hydrogens and an oxygen, okay? But there's another type of water as well too. It's called structured water. And structured water is a little bit different from H2O or regular water, okay? Structured water has a chemical formula of H3O2, okay? And we'll get into what it is in a second, but structured water is gonna be thicker, denser, more viscous. It's also going to be hydrophilic, which means that it's water loving. And it's also really cool because it increases energy, decreases inflammation, and actually slows down aging. Okay. And the cool thing about structured water is this, and you'll notice the difference between the two is structured water will stay in your body longer. And the reason why is because the vast majority of structured water actually comes from your food, and we'll get into those food in just a second. But the reason why I'm making that distinction is because I know a lot of you are going to do your research and look up structured water, and you're going to find all of these devices that talk about structured water and how they can sell you a device that will make your water structured. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not going to go out on a limb and talk about any of those machines, but what I will say is this. Man has yet to perfect what the divine nature has created for itself. So man has yet to create or recreate that which God has created for us. Okay, so it's really important for us to know and understand that. And so that's why I want to get into, again, I know you're going to do your research, and there's going to be other videos and other websites that tell you what structured water is, but I want to be the first to tell you that you can get your structured water from fruits and veggies. Okay. And the reason why it's important to get water that is structured is because the same way when we looked at those experiments with Dr. Emoto in Japan, and we noticed that the molecular structures or chemical structures of the water were changing based upon the quality of water, based upon thoughts, based upon words, based upon music. I mean, if you paid something like Beethoven, that was nice and soft and smooth versus Chopin, which something that was very, rushed and, dramatic, then the water structure changed. Okay, so imagine playing something, playing like rap, something from hip hop that is like trap music versus playing something like a beautiful song like A Ribbon in the Sky by Stevie Wonder. It's going to change the structure of the water. So the point that I'm trying to make is that the same way environmental factors can affect the water, if it can affect the water, it can affect you too. Okay. Now, here's the other important thing that I want you to know, because I want to get back to this, is that you can get this higher quality of water, which is known as structured water, from your fruits and veggies, which means that you can eat your water. Okay. And I think that's really important for us to know and understand, because most of us know that you can juice fruits and vegetables. Okay. So like if you go and get a green juice, maybe you got some cucumber in there, maybe you got some kale in there, maybe you have some dill in there, maybe you have some dandelion leaf, maybe you have some pears, some apples. All of that is the juices removed from those fruits and vegetables that made that green juice. Now, the reason why that's so important is because when you look at something solid like that, you don't think of it as a liquid, but it has liquid within it. And once that liquid is extracted from that solid apple, pear, kale, dandelion leaf, etc., it takes its structure with it, often in the form of minerals, vitamins, and etc. Okay, so it's really important for us to understand that. All right. The other thing that's really important for us to understand is that because this water is attached to food, so even when you don't juice it, you just consume it, you're also hydrating yourself. Okay, and we're going to get into some of those key fruits and vegetables that are hydrating and water loving to the body. so that you can start to incorporate these into your diet more, so that instead of just simply hydrating yourself with water, you can also hydrate yourself with your fruits and vegetables as well too. So let's get into it. Number one, and there's going to be 7 today. Number one is green leafy vegetables. Okay, because the primary juices that I drink are going to be green juices. Okay, I always want to get the green juices, and here's why. When you look at the molecular structure of chlorophyll, which is essentially plant blood, it's the green stuff that comes out of the green leafy vegetables. The only difference, if you were to compare the two, compare chlorophyll with human blood, the only difference is what's at the center of the molecular structure. So when you look at the center of the molecular structure for chlorophyll, the green blood that is in green leafy vegetables, is magnesium, which we need. Most 80% of the population is deficient. All right. And when you look at the molecular structure and what's at the center for our human blood, it's iron. That's the only difference between the two. Okay, so essentially what you're doing when you consume green juices is you're helping to restore blood flow. And in some senses, like you're adding healthy blood, deodorizing blood to your body as well too, because it comes with all those vitamins, nutrients, etc., that add volume and nutrients to the blood as well too. All right, so green leafy vegetables are important. Green leafy vegetables like lettuce are 96% water. Okay, so green leafy vegetables, make sure you throw those in there as well as a form of eating your water. Okay, number two is going to be zucchini. Okay, zucchini is 94% water. Okay, and so I put zucchini in my salads. I also take zucchini and use the spiraler and make zucchini spaghetti as well too. So there's various ways that you can use zucchini. I also, instead of using chips or bread, when I make guacamole, I use zucchini as zucchini sticks, and that's how I'll dip and get my guacamole out as well too. All right, number 3, cucumbers, one of my favorite, especially when I'm making juices. Typically, the base of my green juices is going to be cucumbers, and here's why. Because cucumbers are 96% water. Okay, so you're gonna get a lot of volume out of the cucumbers. All right, and number four is gonna be watermelon. Watermelon is 92% water, and it's also rich in vitamin A and also magnesium and calcium as well too. So water, eat your watermelon to get your hydration as well too. Also, number 5 is cantaloupe. Cantaloupe is 90% water, okay? And a lot of the melons, especially like watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, are gonna be very hydrating to the body as well. And cantaloupe is high in both potassium and magnesium, which just so happen to be very good for your blood pressure as well too. All right, and number 6, bell peppers. Bell peppers, because bell peppers are 92% water. Okay, 92% water. And bell peppers actually have more vitamin C than oranges. Okay, who knew that? All right, number 7, coconut water, my all-time favorite. I spent some time in Panama with Dr. R.S. Latham, who has been raw for over 40 years. And when we were there, the only thing he drinks is coconut water, okay? And when I started to sit under a coconut tree on my farm, one day I was thinking about it. I was like, coconut water is literally the purest form of, structured water to me, when you think about it, because the water literally forms on the inside of it, okay? And it has healthy fats in it. It has minerals and electrolytes in it. It has healthy sugars in it. It has everything you need, okay? So coconut water is the original Gatorade, okay? That's what people need to be drinking instead of Gatorade, okay? Because you're getting your electrolytes. You know, they say with Gatorade, you're drinking Gatorade to replace electrolytes. Well, guess what? Coconut has real electrolytes, not synthetic electrolytes. So coconut water. And I'll give those. So those are my 7. Those are my 7 ways to eat your water. And then what I'll tell you about how do you go about buying water. Get natural spring water bottled at the source. Natural spring water bottled at the source. What that means is, it means in most cases, this is water that has evaporated up Okay, so it evaporated up from the ground, from a lake, from a river, etc. Evaporates up. Then it rains back down, because once the clouds get too heavy, it will rain back down to the earth. Typically, they get this water from a mountainous area outside of the city, which is really important. You don't want city water. You want it in areas that are not highly populated, okay? Less pollution, etc. And so the water rains back down to the top of a mountain. It travels down the mountain. And as it's traveling down this mountain, it's picking up minerals, okay? So when you look at your water next time and you get natural spring water bottled at the source, you'll notice on the label it says calcium, magnesium, potassium. Those are the minerals that it's picking up from the earth, okay? Those are the same minerals that are alkalizing the water naturally, okay? So don't get the alkaline water, because those are synthetic electrolytes. You want the natural spring water because those electrolytes came from the earth, okay? Putting y'all on game. There's a difference between alkalized water and alkaline water, because natural spring water is alkaline because it came from the earth, okay? So get your natural spring water bottled at the source. Bottled at the source simply means they bottled it where it came from. So if you look at like a Fiji water, for instance, they bottled it at the aquifer that is near a volcano, okay? If you get Mountain Valley spring water, it comes from the valley that is near the mountains. They bottled it there, okay? That's a really important part, because you don't want the water to be then transported, okay? So we talked about the importance of environment when it comes to Dr. Emoto, as we talked about earlier. So I hope this has been helpful in terms of like helping you, educate you on how you can stay hydrated, not only by, picking the water at the store and picking the right one, but also how you can eat the proper veggies and fruits to actually get structured water as well. All right, so if you enjoyed this, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Until the next time, peace and blessings and Godspeed. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification button, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.